Let's see if this works. Excellent. All right. I'm pretty sure we're live. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Okay. First time producing here. Can't wait. This is going to be a show and a half. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there who has kids or might have kids that you're unaware of. Happy Father's Day to you. What's going on, Matt? You had one hell of a day yesterday.
I did. It was a good day. More of like a good night. I actually fell asleep. As a fellow old, I'm sure you can understand that. Sometimes it just happens. So the night slate, I wasn't even going to play it, but I saw that none of the contests were filling. So like it's locked at 7:15. At around 7, I decided to just build a few lineups and ended up taking down I think it was like a $400 tournament for 20K. So yeah, it was a good night for sure. Hopefully that brings me some good juju heading into today.
Yeah, you won the early slate as well. So you had one heck of a day yesterday.
That was actually a couple days ago. So
was that? I've lost track. You've had so many screenshots since last doing a show with me. I believe that day you also qualified for a live finals, if I remember correctly.
This is true. You're gonna make me blush over here. So no more sweet talking me.
All right. Well, let me get this tweet sent out. Thank you, everybody, for coming on in. Hit that like button. This is my first producer show. You guys have seen a lot of our other folks doing this. So this is my first effort of a live show in a couple of years. We used to do this on OBX or OBS, whatever it was called. Oh, OBX is Outer Banks. OBS. This is a lot easier. It's on something called StreamYard. So let's see how this goes, Matt. But we're going to jump on in here. We are sponsored by So Rare. We're going to talk about them. Sadly, their main spokesperson, Vinny Pasquantino, the Pasquatch, out for the year with an injury. Very sad about that. I enjoyed watching his So Rare interviews, how he was talking about how he wanted to pick himself. I'm sure all the players say that when they're doing their So Rare stuff. It was a good time there. But if you guys have not yet signed up for So Rare, you can do so by going through the link in the YouTube description here below us. And once you have purchased your 5th card on the open market, they will give you the opportunity to choose a rare card. So that's one of the rare deals that are available for So Rare. No major weather issues, if I remember correctly. I wrote that article at the crack of dawn this morning. So let's just go take a gander over there and then we'll jump on in. Minnesota was the only one that looked a little dicey. Of course, that's a 2:00 game, so we'll have a little bit of time there. It's just going to depend on where the storms come in. That does have Lewis Varland, who is an intriguing pitcher, but with 5 games in the 2:00 hour, there are plenty of pivots around that. So I'm keeping that in my lineups in my portfolio for now. But let's jump on in, Matt. We've got one early game. The Peacock game got moved to 1:05 instead of 11:35 because, of course, it is Father's Day. So they're giving everybody a chance to get to the ballpark. But that means we have the Baltimore Orioles in a fine spot going against the horrible, the awful, the suddenly really old Jameson Taillon here. So line up the batters of Birdland for me. I'm turning this over to you. What do you got here for us in this game? Anything on the pitchers? Anything on the pitchers?
No, nothing on the pitch. The only thing I'll say about the pitchers here is the pitching on this slate is very ugly. There's only a couple guys that you're going to even feel comfortable with at all. So I don't really like any pitchers on this slate. I don't really like these guys. I won't get there, but crazier things have happened on a slate like this. As far as the bats go, yeah, Baltimore looks good here. Taillon has not been good. Their lineup crushes right-handed pitching. There's a lot to like about Baltimore here. As I mentioned with the pitchers, there aren't many good pitchers on the slate, so there are good offenses on the slate today. So Baltimore isn't like the highest priority for me, but if it were for you, I would have no arguments.
It kind of is up there for me, and they are the featured stack of my article today.
I think for me, a big reason why I'm not, going there is because we're doing this show, and it's the only game that locks at 105. So if news happens, scratches, that's probably a bad reason. But there's other offenses I think are in similarly good spots that I'll just use them. That said, like I said, I have no arguments about Baltimore here. I'm using one-offs for sure. Gunner looks elite. I mean, even a guy like Ryan O'Hearn has been hitting well. He looks like one of the best value bats on the slate hitting cleanup. So I get it for sure. They're in a really good spot.
Yeah, Ryan O'Hearn has just been on a tear. He is replacing Ryan Mountcastle, who is out with an injury, but he is batting cleanup today. That is a nice addition there by the Orioles. As you mentioned, you've got up at the top there, you've got Gunnar Henderson, of course, Adley Rutschman, the switch hitting catcher. Is expensive on DraftKings, $5,400, but that does take care of the catcher spot. And by the time you start looking at O'Hearn, who's $2,800, and Austin Hayes, who's $3,900, you're averaging down rather quickly. If you're worried about a fair amount of popularity going to the Orioles, you can also look to Jorge Mateo at the bottom of the lineup there. He does have 20 stolen bases, fifth most in the league, and he has, I would say, gap power. He gets the occasional home run, but he does have some extra base hit upside there. So he's someone you can use for differentiation, as we like to do out there in the tournament landscape. I see someone asking, who's this with me? Well, this is Matt. This is Matt Belman. Matt is been around the DFS world for quite some time. You can actually listen to him. Oh, going off the top of my mind, is it episode 37 of the High Stakes podcast out there by our Neil Orfield? He interviewed Matt. I did not know Matt is a very hand-building, high-stakes player who doesn't mind looking at optimizers to let it do the heavy lifting, but he's an old school, back in the day when we used to have to do these by the stone, in the Stone Age, before we even had lineup sites telling us who's in the lineup and who's not. Those were the days. 2011. Now we've got contest simulators, so a lot has changed.
I just want to touch on one thing you said about Rutschman, how he's expensive. He is expensive. You were right on, and that there's cheap pieces in this lineup to kind of balance that out. The only thing I'll say about Rutschman is he's elite. So he's, arguably the best hitting catcher out there. So anytime you're getting a stack like that, sign me up.
All right, let's continue on to the games. We've got 10 of them today, so we'll keep moving on. It's kind of funny. I changed up how I shouldn't have, but I changed up how I do my prep because I was the one producing, and it threw me off a little bit. And now I didn't do the same setup with all of my tabs and all of that stuff. So we're gonna slowly get organized here, but we do have most of the lineups in, so that's pretty helpful. Moving on to our next game here, the Colorado Rockies away from home, not good. At home, not great. Against righties, dreadful. They're going against Charlie Morton. 39-year-old Charlie Morton still getting it done. He's looking like one of our top three pitchers today, even from a point per dollar perspective, even though he's hitting that five-figure salary cap hit on DraftKings and FanDuel. On the other side, you have Chase Anderson. That's enough talk about Chase Anderson. What do you like here from is there anything you like from the Rockies, or would you like to just wander through the Atlanta side here?
There's nothing on the Rockies. And I'm someone who, I like to get different. I like to get contrarian. So when Colorado's facing like a weak pitcher that's getting ownership, which happens a lot, I have no problems, sprinkling in some Colorado. Today's not that slate. Given the pitching options we're working with, I don't know how you just don't lock in Morton here. I don't even love Morton. I don't play him a ton. I think he's probably overpriced. I'm not excited about that price tag. But in MLB, there's always cheap bats. We can balance that out pretty easily. I don't know how you don't just lock in Morton here. And as far as the Braves go, they're the best offense in baseball as far as I'm concerned. No Murphy today, but you get Travis d'Arnaud. How many other teams do you have a backup catcher who comes in and hits cleanup? I mean, especially for an offense like this, it's crazy. They're in play every slate they're on. Chase Anderson, I think, has been a little bit better than expected. Teams going against Chase Anderson have been very popular since he got called up. I'm not sure how successful they've been, but he also hasn't faced the Braves. So, they're the top stack on the board. They're not getting like an overwhelming amount of love. They're actually coming in with some leverage. They are really expensive, though. So it's hard to fit them in. But I made some lineups before that had some Braves in them because they're the best offense in baseball, facing a average at best pitcher in my eyes. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm coming in the same way. They're expensive. They were yesterday as well, and then they cranked out a whole bunch of runs. And
but they weren't that highly owned.
that was surprising. That was a really fun slate with everything going
Yeah.
at the same time. That was a
I
lot.
love slates like that. That's part of the reason I like Sunday slates a lot, because it's not all at the same time, but it's all like within an hour. But I really enjoy when you get like those 9-game slates all locked within 10 minutes of each other. I'm right with you.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun one. But you're right about who has the luxury of two catchers. Well, the Braves did last year as well. Different group. They had
You're so right.
Went out and got Sean Murphy. It's like, oh, okay, there we go. So they are just always a loaded team, an embarrassment of riches, especially when you have Michael Harris down there batting ninth. At some point, he's going to probably be an all-star leadoff hitter, but just not yet, because they have Acuna and Albies up there. All right, let's continue along here. We do have a 105 lock, so we are marching towards that. That is then followed by the next wave of games at 135. The reason that Peacock game got moved up or moved back farther in the day was because it is Father's Day here, and they wanted to have some more of an event out there at that game. So let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, we got to remind everybody that you can sign up to get 30 days of Stochastic Premium by following in the avatar promo here. So all you guys got to do is go to stochastic.com/avatar, download that Stochastic avatar, upload that to your DFS site of choice, place in the top 3 of any contest with over 5,000 participants, first, second, or third, no ties, unless it's a 3-way tie for first. One of those 500-way ties for first, nope, doesn't count. Got to be first, second, or third. Take a screenshot with your Osmo or your Stochastic avatar. I think I said Osmo. It's a retro day for me today. Take a shot of that screenshot, that victory, and tweet that to Stochastic HOF. That is the Stochastic Hall of Fame Twitter account, and we will get you featured on the Stochastic Hall of Fame segment that runs Monday through Friday between the Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock. That will get you 30 days of Stochastic Premium. All righty. Anything else from the Bravos here?
No, like I said, I mean, as much as I like the Braves offense, I think on this slate, like I don't know how you don't just play Morton here. I mean, cushy matchup against the Rockies. Like, he's probably the best pitcher on the slate. It's a no-brainer for me. If Colorado gets to Morton today, I'll play tomorrow.
Yeah, 10.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. Almost half of his offerings end up as ground balls. Massive win or implied win projection there with the offense behind him. Usually goes into the 7th inning on a lot of his starts, so that's very nice. Very, very nice. All righty, let's move on to game number 3. Miami at Washington. Rare to see Miami with a 5.1 implied run total. Their offense has improved quite a bit this season. Of course, when you have somebody batting close to 400, that does help. That's someone, Luis Arias, not in the lineup today, getting the day off against Patrick Corbin. So instead, you've got Brian De La Cruz up there at the leadoff. Jorge Soler, all but preordained to get a home run today off of Patrick Corbin. You got Garrett Cooper, Yuli Gurriel, etc., etc. Corbin has been better this year than he has the last couple, but he still is, I think he's 2nd overall for home runs allowed over the last 3 years. Yikes. How are you feeling about Jesus Luzardo going against the pesky Nats? I guess they're pesky.
Both sides of Miami, it's kind of similar to, it's like the Braves light for me here. I think that the Marlins obviously look good because they're against Corbin. They're not like as good as the Braves, clearly. So you're always going to prefer to get to Atlanta over Miami, but Miami's a lot cheaper. I mean, Soler's their most expensive guy. The Braves have, a couple guys that are like uber pricey. Miami doesn't have that. But for me, the main piece of this game that I'm just locking in is Luzardo. I am a big Luzardo fan. I don't play him like a ton on the road. I really prefer him at home. He just has always been better at home, and it makes sense because Miami is a huge pitcher's park. So he gets a park downgrade here. Washington doesn't strike out a ton, but their lineup isn't good either. I've picked on them more than I've wanted to recently. Alcantara was awful a couple days ago. Braxton Garrett was really good yesterday. I kind of like this matchup better for lefties. So I like Luzardo here. I think he bounces back after a rough start last time out. If I'm playing one lineup, it's easily Luzardo and Morton for me. If I'm playing 10 lineups, I'm probably just plugging those two guys in. There's just really no other pitcher I like on this slate. Not sure if you feel similarly or not. I know that Varland is getting love, but I'm worried about the weather there.
All right. Season people are saying that Soler is scratched.
So I see Soler in the lineup now, but before I didn't. There's been some issues with lineups all day because I saw Altuve on DK was listed leading off. He's not in the lineup. There's been a couple of things like that. I am seeing Soler in the lineup now, but when you said that, I remember him not being in the lineup, and now I'm seeing there's no Jesus Sanchez. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, we got plenty of time to figure it out. If Soler's in, he's a prime play. The one that threw me was the one actual one we're going to talk about in the next game. Pete Alonso's back. He started today. I thought that was a mistake when it came across the wire, but yeah, it's a bit of a wonky day. So some sites have Soler in, some have him out. Guess what?
DK has Soler out. They have Jesus Sanchez hitting second. But if you look at the popular lineup feed, Underdog's feed, it has Soler in. So honestly, I don't believe DK.
I don't believe DK, and we have News God to break all ties, so I'm sure he'll be chiming in. Sorry, so I got a little distracted looking for that news there. So where do you rank Luzardo on the overarching pitchers today? Like
second behind Morton.
Okay.
Easy second. I don't even know how. There's no one else for me. I get Varland, but like I said, there's weather concerns there. Mm-hmm. There is no one else for me. Peralta it's just not for me.
Multiple home runs in 3 of his last 4 or 3 of his last 5. Yeah, he's just not. Something is amiss there. We'll talk about Ronel Blanco. That's who I'm riding with on DK at an incredibly cheap salary. FanDuel, a little rougher on FanDuel. The strikeouts aren't quite there, but we'll get in more into depth for him. But it does look like it does look like Luzardo is going to be a key option here. Do you want to take any Nationals one-offs against him for some leverage?
Not really, but if you're not playing him, I don't hate it. I mean, he can give up some power to righties. There isn't really much in this lineup you're picking from. I mean, Lane Thomas leading off isn't the worst play. He has some power speed upside. Joey Meneses, I guess, but nothing really, gets me going, gets me excited over here at all.
You mean a 30-year-old rookie breakout last year, Joey Meneses?
Yeah, exactly.
who somehow still has the horseshoe up his ass because he's not bad.
No, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Reminds me way back in the day.
I figured
the Mariners.
Yeah, I figured that he would, after that, how he got really hot, it would fade, and then he'd probably just end up back in the minors. I didn't expect him to be like their cleanup hitter.
Yeah,
they're also awful.
Not bad. He's not bad. It's shocking.
No, he's not.
All right, and enough about the Nationals. Moving on to the next game here. Cardinals at the Mets. We've got the Mets with 5.1 implied run total, 4.7 for the Cardinals. Matthew Liberatore, he's had some rough starts in his career. Carlos Carrasco, he's had more rough starts recently here. I want nothing to do with either pitcher here. I just don't see the strikeout upside. No great news or no great surprise there. They are incredibly discounted on DK, but I'd rather go to Blanco. So for me, this is all about the bats. I think you can go 1 through 7 on the Cardinals. Heck, we can even put in Tommy Edman there. Yeah. I think on the Mets, you can definitely go 1 through 5. Yeah, let's go 6. Let's put in Francisco Alvarez there. Nothing like a rookie catcher that I think he's the rookie catcher. Yeah, it's with power upside out of nowhere. Like I'm streaming him in season-long leagues if I need a bat some days in my utility slot. It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah, he came up as a very highly regarded prospect, but no one ever saw this coming right away with this much power. I don't know. I like both sides of offense here, like you said. St. Louis, I like a little bit more. And this really pains me to say because Cookie Carrasco is one of, if not, he's one of my favorite baseball players ever. Loved him in Cleveland. I mean, he was a guy that really loved Cleveland, wanted to be there, took less money to be there. It's rare we get guys like that. So I'm a huge Carrasco fan, but he stinks now. So I like St. Louis a lot. Carrasco just isn't very good anymore. So St. Louis has been disappointing all year. I mean, one of, if not the most disappointing team in baseball. I've used them a lot, and they haven't been good. But I'll go back to them here. They got leverage. They're coming in as the 5th highest stack. Only 5.7% ownership. I mean, their lineup's good. I prefer them against lefties, but I like them here. It stinks that you have Kisner instead of Contreras, but at least it lessens the price tag of the stack. So I don't mind the whole lineup. When I'm stacking a team, I'll use everyone in there. So Edmund, Kisner, love those guys, but they fit the stack. You got a really cheap Brendan Donovan, leading off.
All right. How do you feel about Pete Alonso coming? I mean, they're not going to rush him back from injury, right? He's kind of their best hitter.
Yeah, it's also like baseball. I mean, I feel like if his hand or wrist, whatever it was, is better, then he's fine. I mean, I guess, okay, I wasn't really thinking about it like this, but since you asked me that, I guess there's more risk than, a normal player in him starting the game and leaving early. If the wrist starts to act up. I wasn't thinking about that at all. And I am using him once or twice. If in Met stacks, you're obviously getting there. I don't want to not play him because of that, but I think that would be the only concern.
All right. Someone asked a reasonable question on Twitter. They said, what does the red line through a player on DraftKings mean? They say it's Soler. Hey, if you go look at Soler now, he is batting second on DraftKings. So just putting that out there. I don't know what a red line is. The little red do not go Ghostbusters sign, that means somebody's not in the lineup. That's all I got.
But you're right. I mean, Soler.
Do not use this player. Yeah, he's in. It looks like that got squared away. It's probably some intern working in Jesus Sanchez, Jorge Soler. It's JS, close enough. Jonathan Smith. They just clicked the wrong name.
I will say this usually, I don't know why, but it seems like I said there's been a miscommunication because this happened a couple times today.
Yeah, it could. It's just one of those days. How would you look for differentiation from the Mets today?
I mean, I don't think I would really, because I don't think they're going to be that highly owned where I'd have to worry about it. Other teams are just coming in with more ownership. I like Tommy Pham a lot. He crushes lefties. Liberatore is not someone I'm afraid of. I also don't think Liberatore is a guy I want to, go hard after I'm picking. He's got a good arm. He's struggled recently, but I don't know. The Mets just don't really do it for me here. I put them below a team like Baltimore, who obviously you like quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking here. It looks we just got the popularity update for stacks. It looks like on FanDuel right now, the Mets are the 7th most popular. So you're absolutely right. Not really getting a lot of love there. 5th most popular on DK. Of course, it's very flat today when it comes to the projected aggregate popularity. You got a ton on Miami, ton on Kansas City, sort of a fair amount on Atlanta, and then it just dips down from there rapidly.
The only team it looks like you don't want to play really is Kansas City. And unfortunately, I understand why they're getting played because I'm playing a couple pieces because of just how this slate plays out. I hate it. I don't want to play them ever really, especially as chalk, but we'll get to that game, and there's some pieces that make a lot of sense.
All right, continuing along here. Ooh, that is going to be our next game. So wait 1 minute while we mention a little bit more about So Rare. They are sponsoring the show today. You can see them up in the banner. We've got the links in the YouTube description, and the link that you'll want to use in there is we'll give you the opportunity to, if you click through that when you sign up for So Rare, to get a player card after you free rare card after you have made 5 purchases on their open market. But what is it? It's a digital trading card game. It's NFT based, so non-fungible tokens. You guys are aware of what those are. These are on the Ethereum blockchain, so they actually do hold a little bit of value. But what you do is you essentially are creating your own team using their player cards. So you can do contests. They generally start their contests. They run Monday through Thursday and Friday through Sunday. So it's a multi-day contest. You guys can buy, sell, or trade cards over there. They've been doing this for several years with their soccer product. So they are established. They just came off a really successful season with NBA. So it's looking like it's a lot of fun here. I think of these as not necessarily as much for the trading aspect, but just a different kind of game here. So similar to Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or anything like that, or Pokemon, anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Those were all.
How are you gonna do them like that? How are you gonna do Pokemon like that?
Pikachu was well after my days of anything as a kid. What's the big pink one? Jigglypuff. Those are the 2 names I know. Mm-hmm. Those are probably 2 of the first Pokemon, and those are what, 30 years old now, or beyond, probably a lot older. So
around then. They came out like during my childhood. Yeah.
I was already in the workforce at that point. So I remember my coworkers' kids would dress up as those 2 for Halloween. So anyway, back to So Rare. But they've got partnerships with MLB, NBA, etc. 300 plus soccer clubs. They're not going anywhere. You guys see them if you're watching MLB TV at any point in time, you're seeing them advertised there as well. But check them out. Neil just wrote an article. He let me know if it's for free on the Stochastic site of how to approach the So Rare game. So check that out. Essentially, it's the real life performances, much like DFS, indicate based upon how your teams do. The other wrinkle is the more you play your cards, the more experience points they get. So that acts as a little booster. So many savvy ways to find some edges there over on So Rare. Alrighty, to the game that you are unsure about. We've got Tyler Anderson going against the Royals. Zach Greinke taking the mound there for the Royals. I can't believe Zach Greinke is still pitching. Can you tell the difference between Zach Greinke's fastball and Zach Greinke's changeup?
No, but he actually has.
It is 0.5 miles per hour difference.
He hasn't been bad at all. I mean, talk about someone that just knows how to pitch.
Smoke and mirrors.
I respect
it. Smoke and mirrors. There could be some Santeria in there as well, but smoke and mirrors. I can see him practicing the black arts of sorts.
Yeah, I could see him doing a lot of weird stuff, to be quite honest with you.
What are you thinking here? Is it Mike Trout? Is it Shohei Ohtani, who has been on a tear? The Angels fumbled one away yesterday. Rookie hero Samad Taylor with that walk-off. Mike Trout, I think it was Mike Trout got turned around and he wouldn't have made the catch anyway. And it was a walk-off single that just landed in the outfield behind Trout and runner scored. So it was his first hit of his career. That was a fun ending to that game. Hooked me up because I had Velasquez who had 2 stolen bases laid. I had Ohtani. I had the rookie in my cash games. All of a sudden went from, oh boy, I'm barely on the line to crushing everybody. So that was fun. What are we doing here? You feel there's a little too much popularity, a little upside down leverage here?
Yeah, for KC for sure. Man, it's really hard to get away from some of these guys though. They're so cheap in such a good spot. You got, like you said, your boy Samad Taylor hitting 5th at 2K with second base and outfield eligibility. Hitting cleanup is Miguel Garcia with third base shortstop eligibility at 2,400. Hitting 6th is Fermin, catching. Obviously, if you use him, you can't use Perez. I really like that 3-man stack or the 2-man stack of Taylor and Garcia. They probably won't do anything today, but they're so cheap. And Tyler Anderson isn't very good. They're just getting too much ownership, KC is. But when building lineups, I get it. They're really cheap in a good spot. There's no good pitching on this slate outside of Morton and maybe Luzardo. Luzardo's good. It's just not like you feel overly great about him here. So both sides of this game, as far as bats are wildly in play. The Angels coming in with basically correct ownership. They're third in our top stack tool. KC is sixth from the bottom, and they're getting the second most ownership on the slate. Yeah, that's way too much. I hate it.
I think so much of that is coming in as just one-offs because on some of their super cheap guys. I think that's got to be inflating it somewhat.
I mean, right? I'm going to pull that up right now. I had it sorted by position, so I'm just going to go overall. Yeah, I mean, Samad Taylor is getting a ton of love, hitting fifth at 2K. Miguel Garcia, Bobby Witt, these guys are all over 10%. Perez is at 10%. Yeah, we'll see what they end up coming in as, but I think it's probably going to be high. I'm using some of them. I'm not proud of it, but Tyler Anderson isn't good. Also, like, if you want to believe in the mojo they got going, they hadn't won it forever before yesterday. So now feeling good about themselves, maybe a little pep in their step. Doesn't make me like them any less, I'll tell you that much. I'm not using them because of that, but I don't not like them because they finally got the monkey off their back and won a game yesterday.
Yeah, momentum always helpful. I mean, heck, look at even Oakland put that 7-game winning streak together.
Yeah,
kind of out of nowhere. So it's a grind. It's a little bit of a mental toll here for some of these.
That's why baseball's so great.
Absolutely, my favorite sport by far. I see super chat here. Sorry, I missed that. This is DFS Dope Strategies. He says, "Hey, who is the top 3 pitchers and top stacks for the day?" Well, we've kind of hit on them. I think the top pitcher is Morton. I think number 2 is Luzardo. Number 3 is probably Varland. And if you're worried about weather, you can go to Blanco. We'll go into more in depth for him. I think the stacks are going to be Atlanta, Baltimore. Who would you slide in there? Would you put Miami in there?
I will say Miami looks a lot better now with Soler in. When we first started this show, I thought it was weird that he was out because Sanchez hitting second as a lefty in this spot. Like, that's just bizarre. So I think Miami is probably the second or third stack. I think that Atlanta is the top, and like Miami, the Orioles, the Angels, and the Cardinals are all right there for me.
All right. Let's continue on here. We got about 30 minutes to go, about 4 games. My mom just called me, as she likes to do on Sundays whenever I'm on air. I've only been doing shows for 12, 13 years now on Sundays. Still calls. Still calls. Hey. Love you, Mom. Love you. And she will be watching this because I will send it to her. And I will tell her she gets a shout out about 35 minutes in. So that will make her happy.
That's great. That's the wholesome stuff we're here for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Mama Mac. All righty. We still don't have the Pittsburgh lineup. I don't know what they're waiting on. I don't know of anybody who's hurt. This could be, I mean, they were in Milwaukee, the rousing nightlife in Milwaukee. Somebody's probably got flu-like symptoms after last night partying somewhere. What do you want to do here with Luis Ortiz and Freddie Peralta? How many lineups would you have to make before either one lands in one of them?
I mean, I don't think a ton.
20?
Yeah, I think 20. I mean, sounds about right here. We're talking about Milwaukee-Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
All right, sorry. I was confused because Freddie Peralta is actually coming in with quite a bit of ownership. I don't love him, but he's coming in with the third most ownership on the slate.
I think that's wrong. I think that's bad. I don't know if he's tipping pitches, if he's hiding an injury, if he's just something is off with his mechanics.
Wait, you think the number's wrong, or do you think that it's wrong for people to go there that much?
It's wrong for people to go there.
I agree.
I was willing to, the first few of these, I was like, blips, trust the body of work. He's really turned the corner. We've seen so many of the Milwaukee pitchers, from Burns, etc., improve, and they're good. Something is wrong. because it's not been the like awesome offenses that have been destroying it. He's just been everybody's been getting to him.
Yeah, and I know like
apparently I'm a little more fired up about this than I expected.
Yeah, I don't feel that strongly about it, and I hate the pitching on this slate. He's cheaper than Luzardo. I'm not afraid of the Pittsburgh offense, but I think that he's more named than anything right now. Like, I think Luzardo's stuff is right at this moment much better than Peralta's. So give me Luzardo over Peralta personally. Obviously, Morton clearly. So I also agree. I think Peralta's getting way too much love. I don't think it's like incorrect though. I think he's going to get a lot of love because, you know, he frequently gets love in matchups like this, and the pitching slate is horrendous today.
No, and he's been so good for. I'm just pulling up his career numbers here.
Right.
So I mean, he really came into his own. He was kind of a reliever during the pandemic season, and then 2021 he was really, really good. 2.81 ERA, less than a 1 WHIP. The next year or last year, he had a 3.6 ERA, right around a 1 WHIP. This year, 3 of his last 4 games, he's allowed 2 home runs. This is a guy who generally doesn't give up a ton of home runs. He's only given up 58 in his career, 58 across just 80 starts, 480 innings. He doesn't give up home runs. Something is wrong right now. I don't
Agreed. You know, you can't put your finger on it. So obviously you have to look at, you know, more data than just his recent starts. But I'm with you. I think that until I see like I want to see it before I put my money on it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you go so far as to stack against him with all this leverage? Direct leverage against the field.
I like the direct leverage. That makes sense. And your point about like the home runs, I mean, that's how you win tournaments. So I look at a team like Pittsburgh compared to Kansas City. I mean, their top stack percentages are basically the same. Kansas City's is 4.7. Pittsburgh's 3. KC's coming in with 10% ownership. Pittsburgh's coming in with 2. So that alone makes me interested in a team like Pittsburgh. Now you could pick a couple other teams like that. You know, the Cubs also aren't getting a lot of love. The Nationals aren't getting love, but I like Luzardo, so I wouldn't go there. The Rockies aren't getting love, but I like Morton, so I wouldn't go there. So of all like the bottom teams, I think Pittsburgh is the best.
Yeah, and they have some pop there. You've got Sawinski, who's been decent. Carlos Santana, he got a home run the other day.
He's on a tear right now.
He's smooth.
Yeah.
But it's good. Speaking of smooth, Neil Orfield in the chat there, complimenting the goatees on this show. Yes, I have to go with the goatee. If I go with the beard, I get a real Santa Claus kind of look going on because it's mostly white these days. My brother he thinks it's funny. My younger brother, he's going to be 50 this year. He will grow out a beard, and he has very white hair as well, except he has just blue eyes. So he looks like Santa Claus. It's pretty funny. He'll put on the hat and the suit. He's very skinny, but so he doesn't match that part of the Santa Claus. But yeah, he looks.
I pretty much always rock a full beard, not a goatee. But I just trimmed it last night, so it looks like a goatee right now, but it's not.
Gotcha.
It's not. Gotcha. So you're the only one with the goatee, unfortunately.
All right. And technically, it's more like a circle beard, I think, is technically what it's called. But yeah, I see Melissa says there's another EMac out there. Well, that is BMac. That is my brother. So yes, there he is. All right.
I've heard you reference BMac before.
Yeah. He doesn't do fantasy sports. He's like, whatever. He didn't care. He's like, he loves going to sports, or he always is finagling. He did live in Seattle for a long time, so he was always everybody's last minute favorite to grab to go to a Seahawks game or a Mariners game, etc. But he Cougar football. He went to the University of Washington. That's the only sports he really cares about. The rest of him, he's like, whatever. I don't care. It's
Cougar
fun.
Or Husky football?
I'm a Husky. He's a Cougar.
Okay, so he went to Washington State.
He went to Washington State. I went to the University of Washington.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I almost wore my University of Washington shirt today, but I did not. All righty, let's get back to the hard work here, because we have 25 minutes prior to lock. There's one game at 105, and then the next wave goes off at 135. For those of you wondering, that is the Peacock game got pushed back from 11:30 to 105 to facilitate more Wrigley Field events for Father's Day today. So don't forget to call your dads today. Probably should call your moms too, like I need to, since my mom called me during the show, like she always does. Hello, Mama Mac. All righty, back to, let's see here. We left off. So we hate Peralta. I do anyway. We're okay with some leverage. Look to the lefties for some home run upside. What do you want to do with the Brew Crew? Everything's really, really, really consolidated in Adames and Rowdy Tellez. You've got, it looked for a minute that Christian Yelich was turning things around. He doesn't get any loft on the ball anymore. How wild is it that he was an MVP and batting champion, and now he's just like, yeah. You got Jesse Winker still dealing with injuries, just hasn't been, even lost season with the Mariners last year. Hasn't been good since his Cincinnati days. They insist on putting Joey Wiemer batting ninth. I think he was batting fifth the other day. I actually like him. He's cheap, $2,900. That's your pivot away from the other cheapie in Samad Taylor. What are you doing with the Brew Crew? Can you look to them, or is this just a two o'clock slate play?
I mean, I think they're certainly in play. They're upper half in top stack, and they're not getting a lot of love at all. They are expensive though, well, not expensive, but they're priced probably higher than you want to pay. And I'm with you. These guys just don't really do it for me. If I were making 150 lineups, I would definitely get some, because I don't think Ortiz is good at all. But I look at Milwaukee in the days they're successful. Sure, they'll have a couple games where they had a bunch of home runs, but this lineup's not really built like that. So of course it's going to happen now today. But I said that. As far as leverage goes, they're in play. Just not a team that I'm personally getting to. Maybe I learned to regret that in a couple hours.
All right, let's continue on. We've got 3 games left. Our one weather game here. This is in Minnesota, so you will want to keep tabs on the St. Paul, Minneapolis weather patterns. There is going to be rain in the area. It's the rain over the stadium. That's the wild card. This, again, you have plenty of opportunities to bail on this one. I'm keeping it at my player pool for now, making other decisions on that later. We'll know more later, and we're kind of in that frame. And with the type of weather it is, it's going to change probably 3 times over the next 30 minutes. It's hard to guess where it is right now.
So a couple things. Just sorry to interrupt you, but the Pirates kind of just came out. But more importantly, and this is why I didn't stack them, Gunnar Henderson is scratched. So if you're using Baltimore, you might want to – this is exactly what I said too. So Gunnar Henderson is scratched. At least there's a decent amount of time before the game starts. But
he was the only guy coming in. Here's where I get frustrated. I'm going to skip this game now. I'm annoyed because that's my favorite game, but there's too many moving parts right now for me to make good lineups. And I don't want to do that. So he was the one guy I was putting in. I've been doing a lot more DK cash games now. Depending on how I feel about the slate, I'll go for that $25 single entry or the $10 single entry. I did the $25 single entry today. I had Gunnar Henderson in my lineup. He's the only one that I have in this game, so I feel fine walking away from that. But that is a little just a tiny bit annoying. I wish that was a 135 game and I would work around it. I still like them. This is just, I'm having to make a conscious choice here, and the show is more important than my lineups. So Austin Hayes moved up to the leadoff spot. He was previously batting 5th. Josh Lester, it looks like, I think he's the one that came in, and basically they just moved everybody up one. Hicks is now batting 5th. But I think O'Hearn, Santander, Rushman. Those guys are all totally fine. Totally fine.
Candelario is also scratched for Washington. Doesn't mean much. I don't know if you're using
but guys, God, come
it's actually
on.
been good recently, though. I know it feels like NBA. And a couple of days ago, we had he scratched, which was a complete slate changer.
Yeah. All righty. Well, we'll continue on. We'll see what other lineups pop up. Let me go see if I can pull that. Where's my Discord? Do you have the Pittsburgh lineup?
I do. You want me to read it to you?
Yes, please. Well, more to the people out there.
Okay, yeah. I'll read it to everyone out there. Bay leading off, Reynolds hitting second, Sawinski third, Santana cleanup, Connor Joe fifth, Marcano hitting sixth, Palacio seventh, Castro eighth, Jason DeLay ninth.
Right.
Pretty average lineup for them.
That is. Bay doesn't Bay have a
Matt
bunch
Fearling
of
was also scratched for Detroit. This is nuts.
We usually don't get this many scratches. That's kind of funny. All
no,
right. Well,
usually go like a week without scratches at all.
Yeah. And typically it's I'm going to speak this into existence. It's Anaheim that's always doing it, or Colorado, right? Those are perpetually the teams that have somebody that's dinged up, hurt, or San Francisco. They're the other ones that hold their lineup a lot because perpetually people are injured. All righty. So refresh on that. We'll hit our last 3 games here. Detroit is where we left off. Going against Louis Varland. I mentioned just ride with the weather, see what's happening, make your decision in about an hour. That's the best advice I can give. Louis Varland, I think, is a reasonable option. What is this? His 9th or 10th start. He's a rookie lefty. Detroit, not a little. They are a lot better against lefties than they are righties. They're still a bottom 3 offense, but slightly better, just not completely abysmal. That's the main vote of confidence there I have for Varland. For the offensive side, at some point Kirilloff's going to have to put this together. No Buxton today. Correa and Kepler are fine. Kepler's in one hell of a slump. You got Joey Gallo back down in the 7 hole. Again, whatevs. This is just a whatevs game.
Yeah, same. I don't mind Minnesota here.
I don't mind them, but I'm looking at them going, do you really like Will Castro batting second? Eduard?
No, don't love it. I probably like the Twins side a little bit more than you, and the Varland side a little bit less. But no reason to risk it with weather. Ownership would be the only reason, but I'm not even confident that if it plays like these teams do anything. So, Detroit's been pesky recently. I'm not excited about Varland. Completely understand why he's getting looks here. I'll probably just play Luzardo because the only thing about, and you've mentioned a couple times, sure, there's plenty of pivots from, if you play Varland, but a couple of the top pitchers, pitch before that. So you don't have the luxury of going to those guys. So I don't love Luzardo here, but I'm probably just going to play him and call it a day.
No, and that's an excellent point. So where I'm in, and we'll just jump in here now, and then Ace of Spades I see your super chat. I'll let me call up my tiers, and I will get those over to you. In our next game, really like Ronel Blanco. If I had to just pivot straight across from Varland to him, I'm totally fine with that. I'd rather play I'd still rather play Blanco than Varland, but I'm sure I will have some Varland when I build up my 150 lineups. But for me, I want to go over the field on Morton. I want to go over the field on Luzardo, and then we'll see what happens after that. So for me, the easy pivot is to go to Blanco. And I'll let you. Do you need a moment to finalize your teams here?
No, I don't. I had Gunnar Henderson once, and I just fixed it. So
you got rid of it.
I was listening to you again doing that. Yeah, I'm good.
Gotcha. So I want to call out here. Let me get over to my notes on Ronel here. Where are you, Mr. Senor Blanco?
Yeah, I didn't realize that you really liked him here. I thought you were.
Really like him. So here Here we go. Third
Okay.
start in the Houston rotation because, of course, they have a bunch of people hurt. He is basically a late blooming prospect. Broke camp as a member of the bullpen. Had, I think, 7 appearances last year for 6.1 innings. Just marginal. Spent all of April working out of the bullpen, 1 or 2 innings at a time. Went down to AAA to play for Sugarland to get stretched out. Came back. He has been a starter in his 2 starts. He's thrown 94 pitches in each. One was against the Angels. The other one was in Toronto against the Blue Jays. 11.1 innings, 7 walks, 3 home runs, 10 strikeouts. It's a price play. 35 on Yahoo is solid. 5,500 on DraftKings is perfect. Chef's kiss. It's awesome. FanDuel, he's a mid-afternoon slate play at best. 6,300. You probably aren't going to get the quality start, which we really need, and not quite the strikeout upside to offset that risk. So he's not really a FanDuel play for me, but definitely on DK for that. So I like him. He is my 3rd highest owned pitcher. I will probably cap. I think I'm going to cap it at 50%, which is high. That's very, very high. Usually I cap around 25 for my secondary pitchers, but I feel strongly about him today.
I like the call. I'm not as high on him as you are, but I certainly, like, if we're making a list of this game, like him more than the Reds, especially with how this slate breaks down pitching wise. If I weren't playing Luzardo, I think he'd be the guy I'd go to, especially because of how cheap he is. The salary just isn't really an issue for me. There's cheap bats all over, so I'll make that work. I would be surprised if Blanco outscores Luzardo. That said, wouldn't be like the craziest thing in the world at all. So I get why you like him. He's my 3rd pitcher on the slate.
All righty. Quickly here, we got 10 minutes to go. I'm actually any call outs on the offense, or I'm going to run through tiers here.
I like Houston here.
Okay.
Houston
I skipped this. I skipped this ahead a little too far.
You're okay.
We'll
I don't like the Reds. Oh, I thought are we not on that game?
No. I that was my bad. I got distracted. So no, we're getting there. Did you need anything else for the Twins?
Now we're back to the Twins. No, I'm good.
Okay.
On the Twins.
All right. So yes. So for Blanco, we sung his praises. Luke Weaver, bad. Now talk about the Astros, because the Astros look vastly different without Yordan Alvarez.
Also, no Altuve today. So, you get a couple downgrades there. They are cheaper. And do I like them as much without those guys in the lineup? No. But I'm also like playing Houston, not on the idea that their lineup is so good, more that Weaver gives up power. The Reds bullpen isn't great. Houston, even without those guys, has good lineup with, Bregman and Tucker hitting 2nd and 3rd. Abreu's turned it on recently. They're another team probably getting a little bit too much love, but I don't think there's a team you need to worry about ownership with outside of Kansas City.
Yeah, nothing for Luke Weaver. Would you target anybody against Blanco?
No, but I also wouldn't hate, since he's got some good hitters in their lineup. They're meshing well. Obviously, the young talent that's been called up. I think there's much better places.
And Fraley's back. Yeah, Fraley's back. He was dingy.
Yeah, Fraley's back. TJ Friedel's been good. India's been good. Obviously, everyone knows about De La Cruz. So it's not the greatest spot in the world for Blanco. It's just how this slate plays out. I am much more interested in Blanco himself than the Red stack.
All right, let's hit our final game. I will do tiers, and then we'll talk about a couple ways to get Stochastic Premium for free. Toronto, Texas. Chris Bassett, rough start, solid pitcher. Texas is a juggernaut. John Gray, outstanding season. I don't want to tangle with Toronto. This is kind of a stay away both sides. I'll probably end up with around 50% of each, 15 of each of the pitchers on DK, but that's really all I'm getting from this game.
Yeah, as far as the pitchers go, I think you could make a case for John Gray just because, like I've mentioned a couple times, the pitching on this slate stinks. He's coming in without a lot of ownership at all. He's been really good recently. The more I look at it, the more I kind of like John Gray. I'm not going to use him. I think he's pricey. I won't, I don't want to say I'll never pick on Toronto, but they're one of the teams I very infrequently use pitchers against. And I will not use pitchers against Texas right now, unless it's some pricing error that the guy just really stands out. But Texas just is not a team you want to pick on at all right now.
All right, tiers for Ace of Spades. Tier 1, I believe you should go to Shohei Ohtani. I do not have any issue with either of the Atlanta Braves. That would be Acuna and Olsen. You're running, and because Ohtani and Trout are together and these two are together, your tier 1 is really hard to correlate with much of anything else. Tier 2, I would probably go with Bobby Witt Jr. Against Anderson. I think the secondary play would be Paul Goldschmidt against Carrasco. Tier 3, definitely Kyle Tucker or Adley Rutschman. If you're looking to pair up somebody with the Braves side, you can go Austin Riley, but I'd still rather go Rutschman or Tucker in that one. Tier 4 gets a little trickier because your best hitters are the Toronto guys, but you do have Ozzie Albies. So I'd probably go that route. If you're not doing a full Atlanta stack, I would go with De La Cruz. Tier 5, I would lean heavily towards Jorge Soler or Alex Bregman if you're looking to do to pair him with Tucker, who was back in Tier 3. But otherwise, Soler stands out head and shoulders above everybody else. And then the last one, I really like Anthony Santander. I'm sad that I'm not putting in my tier lineups because I would be playing him a fair amount. But again, I'm skipping this first game because the show is more important than doing my lineups. But so that is it. So quick recap. You can't go wrong in tier 1. I would lean with Ohtani unless you're doing a Braves stack. 2 is Bobby Witt. 3 is Tucker or Rutschman. Riley if you're doing the Atlanta stack. 4 is Albies or De La Cruz. 5 is Soler or Bregman if you're doing a Houston thing. And then I love Santander today. Who are you terrified of? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, you asked me real quick, would I have any interest in Cincinnati bats? I think you can make a case in this tiers. The bottom 3 tiers have India, McLean, and De La Cruz all at the top of them. No one is going to use them there. I don't play tiers, so definitely don't take my advice as gospel, but just out to me. The question: who am I most afraid to
not have?
I think probably more Baltimore. I feel better about it with no Gunner. I don't feel great about not having much Baltimore. I don't feel great about not having much Milwaukee. And other than that, there isn't really a team. Anyone can go off, but I think those are the teams that I'm scared I didn't get enough of.
All right. If you guys have not yet signed up for BetMGM, you can do so by using the promo code PlatinumSub or by going in through the link in the YouTube description here. Once you have signed up, you got to go through the link or use the promo code PlatinumSub. Once you have signed up, made your first $10 bet, as soon as that settles, boom, they're going to give you a promo code that gets you 30 days of Stochastic Premium. Easy as that. Your first wager is also covered with bet credits up to $1,000. So, for example, your first wager is 10 and you lose, they'll give you $10 in bet credits to use over the next week. That goes, you do 20, they'll give you 20 if you lose. You do 1,000, they'll do 1,000 if you lose. You got to use those in the next 7 days. But that is, while not risk-free, it is insurance. It gives you a second chance to win. So that's always helpful. As always, the legal age for wagering in most states is 21. And if you or anyone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. What else do we have here? The lineup generator, still free.
I want to flip that question back to you. Who are you most afraid to not have?
Batters of Birdland. I called them out in my article. I love them. I love them. And I'm not making my lineups till the later games. So by far. I will probably, as soon as we sign off, I will try to get or maybe right now, I will try to get a home run bet on one of them. So, but that involves.
Oh, let's do that. I know they like to do that on this show a lot. Home run call, dong of the day. Who you got?
Okay, my home run call. Anthony Santander. So I'm going to go put a wager on Anthony Santander.
You did say you liked him a lot today.
Go to the FanDuel Sportsbook because I have some bet credits there from Dinger Tuesday. Dinger Tuesday is a fun little thing.
I'm going to go for mine. I'm going to go with the guy we just talked about. I'm going to go Alex Bregman.
Okay.
Just a gut feel.
Chat, who are you liking for home runs? Let's throw some in there. Let's have some fun with that. To hit a home run, I am. Oh wow, Santander is plus 390 or 320. That's all.
Yeah, wow.
Well, we're gonna put. A
lot of the home run odds change from book to book. Like that's definitely a type of betting where you need to shop around.
You absolutely do, but I'm going with Ryan O'Hearn. Actually, this is how I'm going to get all of my.
I'll say this is really nice that there's only one game and then like a half-hour break for us because it's really hard to do stuff during the show. And yeah, it stinks. Like I'm not really getting to Baltimore and you're not either but it's only one game. Most of the time there's all the games locking right after the show, I feel like.
There you go. Now I have 3 $5 bets with Santander, Ryan O'Hearn, and Rushman. There we go. I'm going to do... Ooh, can I do a same game parlay? Let me do that. Yes. Oh, look at that. I can do Santander and O'Hearn. Both. 5 to win 189. Yeah, look at that. Now I'm back, baby. I'm not as terrified without having the batters of Birdland. We ride. We fly. We fly tonight. Oh, that's always a good time. Always a good time. Lineup generator. I want to remind everybody that is an amazing tool that we have here at Stochastic. Next week, I will be working in a screen share. Oh my gosh, now that I'm self-producing here. This one went relatively smooth. Knock on wood. We still have 2 minutes left. But I will be working in the lineup generator because I want to show you guys how fun that is, how easy it is to use. You guys hear us talk about it on the shows. Greg does a great job of demonstrating it on Live Before Lock almost every day during the week. So you guys know the ins and outs of it. Use the promo code baseball for all. That is baseball, the number 4 all, and you get 50% off your first week of the lineup generator. It works for FanDuel main slate and DK main slate. You can build chalky lineups. You can stack automatically on DK. You can go 5, 3, 4, 4, and 5, 0. FanDuel, you can go 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, 2. It does all of that for you. It takes care of all the correlations, and it gets all the crappy lineups out for you. It only is giving you good lineups. So if you think about those of us that are building, anybody who's building 15, 10 or more lineups, 20, 150, the last 10% of your lineups, no matter how you're doing it, unless you have some sort of sorting method, they're still crappy, right? They're not the right correlation. It's not the leverage that you wanted. It's missing a little bit of the nuance. Even in Fantasy Cruncher, or what your optimizer of choice, if you set in a floor score, you're still not quite getting what you wanted. That's just kind of the cost of doing business for these. Lineup generator takes that out for you. So you can build up to 20 lineups at a time. You can build them in mass
really
with 20 or you can do them one at a time. You select save and you put them in a little holding pen up to 20. Once you get 20 in there, you either got to get rid of them or download them. And then you can just, they'll come out with all the player IDs for DK or for FanDuel, and you just upload it in your template there. So that's a really good, it's a really fun way to do things. It takes a lot of the heavy lifting out of it. If you don't have the funds for an optimizer, you don't feel that you're spending enough on that. The lineup generator, even at its full price, is what, $110 a day. And if you're playing 10 or $15 a day, that's going to save you. You'll be net neutral from bad lineups going in. So I highly recommend it. Give it a spin. Promo code baseball, the number 4 all, gets it half off the first week. And we'll go into more detail on it next week. But happy Father's Day for everybody. Much like Mother's Day is our least watched baseball show, Father's Day usually a pretty well represented crowd here because it's the one time we're like,
you can do what you want.
I'm playing DFS. I'm not hiding in the bathroom. It is my day.
Amen. Yeah. It's my second Father's Day, so I can certainly get on board with that.
Yes. All right. Well, with that, we are going to get on out of here. We are the last show of the day, the only show of the day, but we're starting it all again tomorrow, Monday, bringing you all sorts of content. So head over to the Stochastic YouTube channel, hit which you're here right now, hit subscribe, hit the like button for us. And let's see, should I try to play an outro here? I feel like I'm pushing my luck, but you know what?
I wouldn't know, but it seems like the show went perfect. I mean, from my end, there was no difference. All
right. Well, for Matt, you can find him at Twitter, Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. Of course, it is Stochastic _COM. With that, gamers,